let me get this straight. You are stuck in a strange digital world surrounded by other people who are also stuck, getting harassed by a manic AI. Sounds like a typical day in the therapy office. Today's episode is a special. I just binge watched the Digital Circus, all free on YouTube, and I want to talk about how I would cope in the Digital Circus as a therapist. Hi, my name is Johanna Dinsdale, founder of Multi-Therapy. I like to share bite-sized tips and tricks that I use in a therapy session, and I challenge you to step into the shoes of others so you can build empathy, understanding, and connection with those in your community. Of course, some spoilers ahead, though I'll try to keep things pretty vague so you can enjoy the show if you haven't seen it. So long story short, the Digital Circus follows several people who, in the real world, put on a VR headset that they found in an abandoned building and woke up in the Digital Circus, a place run by an AI named Sane, who takes them on little adventures every single day. Now, unfortunately for them, none of them know how to leave. Some of them have been stuck for years, and if they fully crack mentally, they abstract, which means their character kind of turns into a giant blob monster thing and runs around and is no longer quite human anymore. The abstraction gets locked away and forgotten about. And all the other characters are just trying to keep it together. Most of them have given up on escaping. So it's quite a dismal situation for our characters, especially since the AI Sane is not the most compassionate and seems to be a bit glitchy, trying to create these adventures to make them happy, but often failing. Now, as a therapist who just binged this show, what I really enjoyed about it was kind of the metaphor that they were trying to create. Right away, I was picking up how this show is kind of representative of the monotony of life. That feeling of stuckness that I find a lot of my clients struggle with. There's no escape, there's some overlord harassing you. So what's the point of anything? Do you continue on these crazy adventures one by one as your mind slowly unravels? As you accept your fate? Do you try to embrace the archetype that was given to you to fit in the best that you can? Or do you keep your head down low and just try to slog your way through it the best that you can? We see each of the characters kind of doing their own thing to try to get through the Digital Circus, aka the monotony of life. And I like to imagine that we were the new player of the game. We just got sucked into the Digital Circus. What would we do from here? Of course, the first thing that all of us would do would be to try to find an escape. I personally would gather up as much information that I could about the other players, myself, and about the world around us. I'd question Sane the AI as much as possible, even though I know he's probably lying about a lot of things. I would experiment daily to see if I can somehow break the software or change things up around me. If that wasn't the case, which I find myself truly and fully stuck in the simulation, no way out, tried absolutely everything, that's where you have to move to acceptance. And when I say acceptance, it's not fully giving up. It's simply accepting the place that you are in now until another option comes along. Accept the situation that you're in and plot quietly until your moment arrives. There's a process of grieving the life of the outside world, of never going back to the place that you once knew. So you fully have to allow yourself to process the grief of that to avoid abstraction. I think that would be the main goal then, right? Is to not abstract. You don't want to lose your humanity in this place. So go through the denial, go through the anger, the bargaining, depression. That's all part of obtaining acceptance. You have to be kind to yourself, to process all of these emotions and to not lose your humanity. Avoiding isolation is so important too. So I would start to try to connect with the other players as much as possible on an emotional level. Even if they drive me crazy, humans are social creatures. Some people are extroverts, some introverts. But if you think about people in isolation and jail, you never hear that ending well. I would also take the approach of one day at a time. And if that doesn't work, 1 hour at a time. And if that, 1 minute at a time, 1 moment at a time. If you allow all these thoughts of stress and anxiety about being stuck in the Digital Circus overwhelm you, you're only going to start to spiral. Grounding yourself in the present moment, controlling your digital nervous system, by taking deep breaths, confronting those emotions head on, allowing yourself to feel them, and knowing that you are in power to let them go too when you are ready to move forward. The one thing that drives me crazy about this show too is that we don't know too much about the background of the other characters. I'm sure for one reason or another they don't like sharing that. Perhaps they don't want to get too close because some of their old friends have abstracted. But that's where the therapist in me would say it's okay to grieve those people and it's okay to love again. All of us are going to die one day, and that's what abstraction kind of represents too. The complex emotional responses of our other players should never be taken personally. They've gone through most of the trauma before we got there. So understanding their history will only bring you closer together, to bring you more understanding about their situation. The next big thing is to find purpose. Now that you're stuck here, what will your purpose be? Choosing something that feels right for you, that aligns with your values in life, is so important. Maybe you decide to commit to winning all the adventures. That's what you value. You enjoy a nice competition, so that's your new purpose in life. Perhaps you value caring for others, so you decide, okay, I'm gonna be like the bodyguard on these adventures. I'm gonna protect other people. That's my main mission. Perhaps you take on the role of explorer. I'm gonna map out as much as possible this digital world to get a greater understanding. Of course, we could sit there and do nothing and wallow in the fact that we're stuck. Just like in life, we can feel terrible about our situation, stuck in a dead-end job that you can't quit because you need the money. What's it all for? Well, what's it all for is for you to decide. What is it all for? Understanding what you value is the first step to finding purpose in life. And that's why this show is so brilliant. Have you seen the Digital Circus? Let me know if you have in the comments down below and what you think about it. And if not, have I convinced you to watch? This has been Johanna Dinsdale from Multi-Therapy. Thank you again for tuning in. If you'd like to book a virtual psychotherapy session with me, feel free to visit our website, multitherapy.co. Take care and multi-goodbyes.